Cadillac ATS was conceived to compete with some very competent competition, namely the BMW 3 Series, Audi A4, and Mercedes C-Class. So does this newcomer to the sports sedan segment pull it off? Let's find out. Well, in terms of its looks, I think it definitely pulls it off. It looks aggressive, modern, luxurious, and fast. The front end looks really cool and follows Cadillac's new design strategy, which emphasizes both art and science. Not just the front, but every angle looks good. I think they've really pulled it off with the shape. It defines the new Cadillac. The interior emphasizes luxury, comfort, and technology. The seats are all power and feature lumbar support. Plus, I like the multicolored design. It's a really nice and stylish interior. The center console storage also has 2 USBs and an SD card slot too. Moving forward, you get 2 cup holders. Here's the button to cancel the traction control. I don't recommend it. And here you have a mode button. Press it, and you can choose between touring, sport, and snow or ice mode. You get a 6-speed automatic transmission, which you can shift here, or with the paddle shifters too. This compartment's a good place to store your phone, plus you also get a charger too. This is where you can control your dual zone climate control and also your heated seats. Now you can also control the climate control and a lot more with Cadillac's Q system. Just get close and you'll see other menus pop up. Control navigation also, and of course all of your radio settings too. It's a little strange to get used to at first, but once you do, it's a little bit easier. These sliders all work once you get used to them. It's just a little different way of looking at things, much like BMW's iDrive. Well, Cadillac's Q is a little quirky at first, but you do get used to it. And check this out. There's a hidden storage compartment too. Very cool. Of course, you get keyless entry and push button start. The gauge cluster is a little busy, but it does tell you everything you need to know. On the steering wheel, you have controls for your cruise control and Bluetooth. On this side, you also have controls for the radio, and then the menu up ahead, right in the middle, gives you useful information. Plus, of course, the awesome heads-up display. The door really shows off Cadillac's artistic flair. Nice wood there. Here's your controls for power windows and door locks. You get 2 memory settings, and down here you get a cup holder and more storage too. Just to the left of the steering wheel, you have controls for your heads-up display, also your parking sensors too. Overall, it's a nice interior with what I think are much better than entry-level luxury features. In back, you get your own vents, a charger, plus seating for 3. Open up the armrest, and you get 2 cup holders, plus storage, and a pass-through to the trunk for skis. The trunk has some side compartments, and overall you get 10.4 cubic feet of storage. Powering my ATS test car is a 3.6 liter V6, which produces 321 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque. With a 6-speed automatic, that's good for a 0 to 60 time of 5.5 seconds. Fuel economy is rated at 18 miles per gallon in the city and 28 miles per gallon on the highway. You can expect 22 miles per gallon overall. The 2014 Cadillac ATS ranges from $33,000 to $48,000. You can get an entry-level 4-cylinder turbo, or you can get the nice 3.6 liter V6.
and that's what my test car has. The premium collection, it starts out at
just over $47,000.
And with the cold weather package, which adds heated seats and heated steering wheel, plus the metallic plum paint job, you're out the door at just over $49,000. Now that's pretty fair money, and it's also a bit cheaper than the competition from BMW, Mercedes, and Audi. Well, first impressions are everything, but when I first settled in, I was definitely impressed with the overall look of the interior. I like the two-tone look, I like the materials, and much like the BMW that it competes with, it's a bit quirky. You know, it took me a bit to get everything adjusted right and get your preset set, things like that on the radio. Even the cruise control is a little different than most other cars. The way they place it's right on the steering wheel. And just the way the buttons are, they're trying to look a little bit more perhaps modern. To me it's a little retro, because I remember in the 90s a lot of electronics you bought, you sort of controlled the same way with these silver lines and that sort of thing. But you do learn rather quickly to control everything, and once you do, it all makes very good sense. And in terms of that quirkiness, well, it's certainly also sort of a style statement too, and it's important for a luxury car to have style and stand out against its competition. And this one does. You know, the interior looks different. It's not like it's saying, I want to compete with the BMW 3 Series, the Audi A4, or the Mercedes C-Class, and just imitate it. No, it's saying, I want to compete in terms of numbers, but I also want to stand out and have my own personality. And that personality is Cadillac. And interestingly, it's totally different than the Cadillac of old. The Cadillac of old was sort of the American Rolls-Royce, and that meant a very soft, compliant ride. That meant great comfort and certainly speed too, but if you wanted to take a turn in an old Cadillac, you were out of luck, trust me. My dad's daily driver was a 1970 turquoise with white leather Coupe de Ville convertible, and I took my driver's test in it, and that car had amazing style. But in the same way, so does this one. The ATS here is still comfortable, but it's comfortable by today's standards. In fact, it's kind of a stiff ride. Why? Because this is a sports sedan, and today, just like Rolls-Royce and Bentley and Cadillac, cars are expected to handle in a certain fashion. And even though Cadillac has always been considered a comfortable car, well, today it's a comfortable car in ways such as heated seats, heated steering wheel, lumbar support, and some good adjustability in the seating, leather surfaces. But it's a totally different world today, and the Cadillac that I'm used to and that I grew up in is definitely not today's Cadillac. But that's a good thing. You've got to change with the times, and although I miss that 70 Coupe de Ville convertible, and I'd love to have it back for nostalgia's sake and also for its look, this new Cadillac ATS still brings a great modern look, and it's classic in many ways. It's classic Cadillac. It still has the badge, and it still has great looks. It's still a bit ostentatious, but it has that impact in an entirely different and modern way. I think Cadillac is now finally at the top of their game again. It's more current, it keeps with the trends of today, but it's still a Cadillac through and through. The ATS is a car that both Cadillac and America can be proud of. You can get the tail loose, especially in sport mode. You really got a lot of power and a lot of torque, and you can definitely throttle steer the ATS a bit. And in the sport mode, it's more responsive, and even more responsive. When you shift it manually. Nice American growl from the Cadillac ATS, as you'd expect. Even blips the throttle for you on downshifts. Pretty cool. Checking out the night look. And it's mostly blue. And I like that. Looks good. But wait, there's something else. Now, of course, when you go into reverse, you get a backup camera. But you also get a little something more. Let's say you're pulling forward, and you don't have a camera anymore, but when you pull forward and there's an object in the way, did you hear that? Both sides of the seat vibrated to let me know there's an obstacle. And right here, it shows you where the obstacle is. Excellent safety feature. Once you get used to Q here, there's a lot of very intuitive settings. This one on the left is like a catalog setting for Sirius. So if you press it down here, then you're in the hundreds. If you want to go back up here, then you're back in the tens. So you can get to where you're going even when you're scrolling through a couple hundred channels on Sirius satellite radio very easily thanks to this system. I really like the navigation input system. You basically just put in the number and the address all in the same line. That way you don't have to skip lines and that sort of thing. It also tells you right on the infotainment screen, right in the middle on the dash, and then also with your heads-up display, tells you where to turn. So that's 3 different places, tells you where to turn, and nice and easy to see. The ATS comes with a lot of safety features. You get 8 standard airbags, available radar, camera, and sensor-based technologies, including adaptive cruise control, intelligent brake assist, forward collision alert, rear cross traffic alert, and side blind zone alert too. You also get the safety of all-wheel drive, which is optional, and that great GM OnStar system, which keeps you in touch in case of an emergency. So earlier today, I was actually talking to an expert in a certain field, and he was describing something that he uses in that field, and he said it's Cadillac grade. And it was so funny how that related to the Cadillac here, the ATS. You know, the harder you push this car, the more you appreciate it. And even though it's different than the old classic personality of Cadillac with the comfort level, still a comfortable car. It's definitely stiffly sprung, but the harder you press the ATS, when you start shifting it yourself and noticing the matched revs and seeing how well it hugs the corners, then you really appreciate it, and you really learn what Cadillac grade means. It's the top of the line. So in the end, does the ATS compete with the Audi A4, the Mercedes C-Class, and the BMW 3 Series? And I think it actually does more than compete. I think it manages to stand out as well. If you want an American luxury sedan, then the go-to brand is, and has been for quite some time, Cadillac. And I think it's still the case here. They've designed a car that is a standout not only in looks, but also in levels of luxury and tech too. And they've put it all together in a very attractive package that does compete with all of its rivals and does very well. I'm Drivin' Ivan Katz.